Hello and welcome to Living It Up with Isabel. My name is Isabel. I was the first president of the Institute of Marketing in Malawi. In 2023, I was recognized as one of the top 100 most inspiring women in Malawi. And in 2024, I was recognized to be a woman of substance by the Institute of Marketing in Malawi. I'm training towards being an ICF accredited coach, and I'm just passionate about life. It's been a while since we last met. In fact, my last episode was about planning for the year, ironically. But what I would want to say is, although I haven't been here, I have been living very intentionally, and I wanted to share a bit about that. Just to recap, the last episode was about um, how instead of setting New Year's resolutions, we need to create habits and routines that help us to grow and help us to achieve our goals. I also referenced Robin Sharma's book, The Wealth That Money Can't Buy, and how these different forms of wealth introduce habits that we can develop so that we can actually achieve our goals over time. So, today I just wanted to share a bit about some of the habits that I took on in 2025 and some of the lessons I've learned. And I also wanted to share with you some tips on how maybe you can work towards creating your own habits for 2026 to make sure that you stay on track and continue to live the life that you love and love the life that you live. So, I would like to start by sharing some of the habits that I took on and some of the achievements from there. So, one thing that I managed to achieve this year was completing a Toastmasters pathway in dynamic leadership. So, the habits that came from there was constantly preparing speeches and projects. So I used my own life experiences to come up with content for speeches, and then I would book with the club to make sure that I would be able to present at least once a month, come up with a speech that I'll be able to present, and eventually I managed to finish that path. Um, Another habit that I developed was in coaching. So I started a course, an ICF accredited coaching course called Champions of Change. So, as part of the program, I needed to do peer coaching as well as talking to clients and coaching them on different subjects. So, part of this involves practicing to listen, practicing to ask the right questions, practicing not to judge and just hold space as somebody else shares what's on their heart, practicing not to give advice but to instead um, draw out uh, questions that would help the person come up with their own solutions. So, a lot of practice there, and that's a habit that I am working on all the time, working to develop and sharpen. Um, Another habit that I also took on, which is more work related, is first of all developing frameworks and templates to help me present ideas in a more structured and understandable manner. So this creates bigger impact. It also has increased my levels of responsibility as people. It's built people's confidence in me. So the habit of developing frameworks and structures. Um, Another milestone was losing about 14 kgs this year. So it wasn't an overnight thing, but it also emanated from a series of habits and routines. So working out at least 6 days a week, eating the right food, um, drinking lots of water, so like 5 liters of water a day. So lots of different habits that stacked up to actually help me achieve this goal. So that's just a bit about some of the habits. But um, I also want us to reflect on why resolutions don't work in my view, but why habits and routines do. So, first of all, I think resolutions are more emotional. So, you reach the end of a year or you're entering a new year and you've got all these emotions going on. I'm going to hit the gym, I'm going to do this, I'm going to change this about myself. And then something happens, you feel disappointed with something, and all of a sudden, um, it goes out the window. But if you have a scheduled habit, if it becomes so routine in your life, no matter what's happening around you, you're still going to go and do it. You'll wake up at 5 o'clock, you'll have your clothes already laid out for you, and off you go to exercise. So that brings me to the next point where I'd like to point out that habits are practical. It's something that you're going to do. It's something that's cast in stone. Um, and routines remove the decision fatigue. So you don't have to wake up every day saying, okay, what am I going to do at 5 o'clock? You already know that, hey, 5 o'clock, I jump out of bed and I exercise. Or every Thursday, I go to a Toastmasters meeting. Or um, on a Saturday, I need to arrange to have a coaching client or whatever it is in your life that you're developing as a habit. You'll actually know that there's a specific time. You're going to time block to say, on this day at this time, I dedicate this time to this specific habit. So it becomes so straightforward for you. So that is why routines and habits trump resolutions all the time. No emotions, very practical, and there's no need to keep reminding yourself, okay, making a decision that, okay, today, what am I going to do? You already know that every Thursday I do this. At 8 o'clock on this day, I do that. So it makes things a lot easier in terms of making such decisions. Another thing I wanted to share is that as you're working on your routines and habits, there are certain things to bear in mind. What I realized is it's not really about what you do, it's about who you're becoming. So it's a process of becoming. You become the person who does certain things. So, in that, you need to be very clear about what your values are. What are the things that mean a lot to you? It could be family, it could be your career, it could be your health, it could be the impact that you create in your community. So, what are the things that really mean a lot to you, and what habits can you develop that come from your values? So, be very clear about your values and then have habits that come from there. Another thing that I found to be very important is to do things that really scare you. So, um, if you are doing things that you feel comfortable with all the time, you are definitely not growing. So, um, whether it's every day or every week, find something that just gets your heart racing a little bit more, a habit or a routine or something that uh, really challenges you. And then also, you need to challenge your mindset. In Robin Sharma's book, he talks about um, what makes us who we are, and he brought in the principle of PENUM, which is an acronym standing for our parents, our environment, our nation, our associations, and the media. So these are things that either uh, bring limiting beliefs, they cause us to think, no, I can't do this, or they're things that encourage us to keep pushing because, yes, my parents said I can achieve anything. So we really need to uh, reflect on the different things that make us who we are and challenge some of the limiting beliefs that we have and flip that mindset. So, if, for instance, you are coming from a country where people have put limiting beliefs on what can be achieved, you need to start asking yourself that is it really true? Um, is it true that nobody from my tribe, from my country can really achieve this? And what habits can I develop to challenge that belief? So, yeah, really challenging the mindset that we have been conditioned to have. So, in closing, as we are preparing for 2026, I want to invite you to think less about big promises and doing big things, but more about the habits that you're going to protect or change. So, um, I would want to ask you to just reflect on this, that what habits have served you in 2025? What habits do you want to change in 2026? And what habits do you absolutely have to stop in 2026 to make sure that you achieve your goal? So that's all for today. If this video has resonated with you, I would like to hear from you, and you can also subscribe and like this video. Otherwise, I am wishing you an amazing 2026. As always, I encourage you to celebrate life. Until next time, take care.